Hello everyone at LVBC. I just wanted to have the guys each take an opportunity to share with you some of the blessings that they have had throughout this week. One of the blessings, one of the outreaches that I had was I was praying for somebody from Saudi Arabia that I would be able to talk to. The reason why I picked Saudi Arabia was at the opening ceremony when there were so many Koreans going past. I kept seeing the green team, the Saudi Arabians. They were all in a bright green color, and I was really disappointed that I wasn't able to give them any tracts just because I didn't have any in the Arab language to be able to give them at that time. So I decided to pray that night that I would be able to have an opportunity to be able to talk with somebody from Saudi Arabia and be able to give them a tract. And the Lord gave me that opportunity the very next day, actually on Monday, I believe it was. And while I was waiting outside one of the fencing arena, a guy from Saudi Arabia, the coach, actually came out for a smoke break, and I was able to start to talk with him briefly, and I was able to ask him how he believed he was going to go to heaven. And he told me, he goes, "I'm not Muslim, but I'm not Christian. I don't believe what you have to say," but he told me he would take the tract and would take the time to read it. So that was an incredible answer to prayer that he actually did that. And I just want to share one other thing that was also a blessing, and that took place yesterday. While I was at the aquatic center, I wanted to, I saw this guy across the way, and I was kind of intimidated at first because it was a long distance, and I didn't exactly feel like going all that way and then be able to talk to this guy over there. Anywho, all these reasons were coming up in my mind for why I didn't want to go over there, but I decided that the Lord really put an urgency inside me that I needed to go over and talk with him. And as I went around the building and started coming toward the guy, I saw on that side of the building was where all the athletes were coming in and out of the aquatic center. So in about 15 minutes of time, I was able to reach about 10 different countries and be able to give them all tracts, which was amazing. And it reminded me how important it is to follow the leading of God's Spirit inside me whenever I feel Him telling me to go and talk to someone. So that was another blessing.
I just want to give you a quick update about some things going on here in South Korea. This is Wednesday evening, and today was a pretty exciting day outside in the field there. This morning it started with devotions and praying particularly in my life for the countries of Iran and Laos. And I know my mom has been praying for Laos as well, so I kind of wanted to make it a point personally to reach someone from that country. And people have been reached from that country recently, but I wanted to personally be able to do that. But anyways, they started, we went to the subway. Eric Dotson and I and another man from a different church were going to a major subway station up in Seoul. And so the very first transfer that we got to, we were walking up some stairs and we saw some people, we weren't sure if they're athletes or not. They look a little different than South Koreans. And we got up to the train station and we asked them, where are you from? And sure enough, they say Laos right away. And so that was like, oh wow, right off the bat, we're getting some people from Laos. So it just pulled out, I got their autographs and whatnot, and then pulled out some tracts, particularly for the country of Laos, that language, gave it to them, and they were very thankful, and that was the end of that. And then later, we were at the Seoul station, and we were kind of right by some steps and some stairs where a bunch of people were coming from buses and leaving the train station and going to the city, and a lot of traffic. And so I was kind of paying attention to what I was doing, and Eric Dotson was over maybe about, 40 yards over my left, and I look over and there's three Iranian ladies over there, and they were athletes, and he's coming over here. Apparently, he didn't have tracts for Persia, which is the language for Iran, and I had like 2 tracts. I needed 3, but I only had 2. But anyways, so I was able to get them some tracts right there, and their sport was like pistol shooting, so it's kind of interesting. So, but then that's not the end of the story. Up till this point, I was very excited because Iran and Laos has been reached, but the story doesn't end there because we came back and everybody came back to the church building here. We're sharing testimonies, and one of the other girls that's here named Stephanie, talked about how she thinks she was on the metro, the subway, and there's some Iranian athletes, female athletes. She wanted to give them a track, but they said, "Oh no, we already got one from Tommy." So I was just kind of like, "Whoa." It's kind of funny how we have coincidences like that, but we know that these sorts of things are really appointments by God. So continue to pray for the outreach here. There's one full day left tomorrow, Thursday, and then we have all day next week, but of course we won't be here. So anyways, thank you.
Good evening. This is Jerry Seltzer, and I'm glad to be giving a testimony to my church family back home in Emmaus. It's now almost 10 o'clock on Wednesday evening here in Incheon, South Korea. And the testimony that I would like to give to all of you tonight was the experience we had going out with our team yesterday on Tuesday, September 23rd. We were originally scheduled to go to the shooting venue, and the two Koreans that were driving and navigating in the car, they're very technologically savvy here in South Korea, and they looked up and they said they didn't think there were any activities at the shooting venue and suggested we not go there and we go somewhere else. And where they recommended was that we go to the archery venue, which was a distance away. And it was on the ride, it was a bit discouraging because kind of felt like we belonged at the shooting venue. But what God showed yesterday, and He's shown to all of us on all the different teams here throughout the whole stay here in South Korea, is that our vision is very limited and we can only see what we can see with our eyes, but God sees everything, and it was clearly His direction that redeployed us to the archery venue. When we got there were three archers from Kazakhstan, but I was unable to find the Russian tracks to give to them, so that didn't work out. However, a few minutes later, the Lord brought by an archer from Thailand and was able to get him to autograph a hat and then give him a Thai track. And then a thing that I have been praying for since we came over here, and probably even shortly before we left to go to South Korea, was an opportunity to give some tracts to some men or women from the Arab or Muslim countries, not anyone in particular, but just the Arab or Muslim countries, most of who are closed to the gospel. And a few minutes after I was able to interact with the Thai archer, the Lord sent by three archers from Iraq and was able to get them to autograph the hat and give each of them a gospel tract, which they accepted. So that was just a tremendous blessing that the Lord answered that prayer and got the gospel into the hands of those three men. And then later in the day, one other team member, Andrew, from another of the churches, he said, "Well, I'll come over and we'll partner up on this," which was a wonderful insight and move and blessing on his part. And it worked out quite well. Throughout the rest of the course of the day, we were able to get tracts into the hands of athletes from 6 other countries. I would go and ask them to sign the hat, which they were all quite pleased to do. And then Andrew would identify the country they're from, and he would give them the gospel tract. And again, we got 6 other countries. So all in all, I would just say the Lord has redirected our original plans almost every day, but it was just for His glory and the greater good that the gospel would get into the hands of athletes from many countries, more than we could even hope or expect for. So again, we're so thankful to the Lord in the way He's worked in clear and powerful and mighty ways over here, and we're just humbled by and thankful for everything He's doing. Thank you, and we hope you have a good night, and we look forward to seeing you Sunday back at church in Emmaus. God bless you.
Hi, everyone. One of the great opportunities that we had was at the subway station, where the stairs went up and then the stadium was right out there. So many people came up there and they just went right into the stadium. So we stationed our area around there. So when the people come up, we just hand them tracts. And it was a great place to be because many people came up. And there's these many elementary kids and high school kids that came up, and we were just handing out tracts by the handfuls, and many kids accepted them, and it was great to hear them to say thanks and like, oh, can I have another one? It was really cool to see those things, and even though some of them, we found that there was a couple of them that they left on the ground, but at least the majority of the tracts that we handed out, they kept. We handed about approximately 2,000 tracts to the students, and unfortunately, some of the students ripped them up and left them on the floor, on the ground, and so we had to go pick them back up, and it was these teenager girls came up and helped us pick up the stuff and the tracts and put them. The amount that we gave out was very large in comparison to the amount that we picked up.
Hi guys, we're in South Korea, and I just wanted to give you a quick update on a testimony that opportunity I had to speak to a man on Monday. As God, only God can orchestrate, I'm in South Korea, I'm walking around, I go up to a booth and there's a man named Jay there, and lo and behold he speaks English, and I start talking to him, and he's from Texas. And as I was talking to him, he asked me what I was doing here, and I told him I was out talking about Jesus and spreading the gospel out to this country. And I had a chance to ask him the very important question. I said, so how do you think a person gets into heaven? And Jay's response to me was, well, I'm not quite sure. I just think I'm going to get into heaven. And so then I said, well, you know, a lot of people think if you're just a good person, you'll make it into heaven. What do you think about that? And he goes, well, yeah, okay. And so then I took him through the law, started asking him, you know, whether he had ever told a lie, or he ever stole anything. And as he said, yeah, I've done those things, but, you know, I was kind of taught those things. I said, would you say that that would be your nature, that you are a sinner? And he said, no, I wouldn't agree with that. And then we talked a little bit more, and as we came out of that conversation, he eventually did agree that it is his nature. He cannot help but tell lies. He cannot help but take things. And I said, and then it actually, his light bulb came on right at that moment, and he said, well, I got a problem. And I said, exactly, yes, you do have a problem. Let me tell you what the answer is. And as I finished that conversation up with him, I offered him a Bible study card from our church that he could do a correspondence Bible study. I said, here's a faith and repentance CD, how you can be made right with God, and gave him a good person tract. And he gave me his email address so that I can stay in touch with him, and walked away. And I said, amen, Lord, only you can orchestrate these type of things. So I'll stay in touch with Jay. I'm going to check to see if he's listened to his CD, and if he's got any questions, and praise the Lord, maybe he'll come one day. Thank you very much. See you guys.
Eric here. It's Wednesday night. We just finished church service with Maranatha Baptist Church, and I'll give you a little bit of an update overall, and then a specific happening, something that happened today. Overall, Asian Games are going very well, as you guys probably know. A lot of prayers have been answered, especially with North Korea. I think 11 athletes have now been given a tract from North Korea, so that's huge. And there's a very, very real spiritual battle going on there, and I'm sure you'll hear more about that. I would like to tell you one thing that happened today with the group that I was in. We were in Seoul Station in Seoul, not in Incheon, but in Seoul, South Korea, and we ran into a lady there from Kenya, and she had a couple of men with her from Burundi, which is near Rwanda, and we gave them some tracts, and she started to walk away, and she opened up the tract and started reading it. Then she turned around, came back to me and said, we need somebody to teach us the Bible in the English language. And she said that she has a group of refugees that live with her in Incheon, and they are from Burundi, Yemen, Palestine, Egypt, China, Mongolia, and Morocco. So refugees from all of these countries have a meeting place there in Incheon, and it looks like it really could be a promising open door We're trying to go back tomorrow. We're trying to get in contact with her right now and set up a time. We'd like to set up a Bible study with her tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, then maybe next week when after we leave and after a couple more people come in from another church, and they'll continue to follow up with that. So please pray for that. If you're watching this, probably between 7 and 8 on Wednesday night, then it's between 8 and 9 here on Thursday morning, and tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, is when we would like to do this study with her. So please be in prayer for that. Be in prayer that we can contact her and set up a time to do a study. And she's only about half an hour away from here, if I understand correctly, and we really like to be able to follow up with her and have a Bible study with this group of refugees. So please pray for that, and pray for North Korea and the Asian Games as a whole. All right, thanks.